Town lost their 100% record on Saturday afternoon when they fell to a pretty tame defeat to Bradford City, who beat the Hatters 2-1 at Valley Parade. Alongside me to reflect on afternoon that I'm pretty sure we're not going to remember for too long is Dan Barratt-Davis and Mark Crowther. Gents, afternoon to forget, I'm afraid.
Thought we'd left them behind.
Didn't we all? Didn't we all? Not the case, though. We'll reflect on that afternoon and we'll look ahead to Tuesday night's game against Wigan, all in the one podcast, and we'll do it right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category at the Football Content Awards. As ever, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. Before we get going on this podcast, as we kind of said that we was going to happen in the last one, we are doing this recording online. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I apologise for the backgrounds and everything else. We will be back to the studio for the next podcast that we do. And if you're listening by audio and you pick up a little bit of outside background noise, then we apologise for that. Please do bear with us for this one episode. We will be back to normal after the Wigan game, and hopefully, lads, our football team will be back to normal after the Wigan game, because Dan, Mark, that was not an afternoon that we want to relive very often this season.
I've always said that there are ways to lose games, and we're not arrogant enough to think we're just going to steamroller the whole of League One, but I think that was definitely not a way to lose a game for our first defeat of the season.
I felt like Bradford were set up better, organised. That each man knew what they were doing, and they were better than us without really having to get out of second gear. Do you know what I mean? I think we were just so lacklustre and like they don't know each other. And I get it's a new team. It is a new team being put together, but they just yesterday they played like they'd never met each other before, and players playing out of position again, which I'll come on to later on. And it was just poor, not good enough, not good enough at all. And I get we're going to lose games, we are going to lose games, but hopefully not too many, and hopefully not too many more like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Mark, I think you're spot on. You know, Luton fans don't really, I say that we don't mind losing games. Of course, we mind losing games. Don't go to games to watch our team lose. But there are ways to watch our team lose. And that wasn't it yesterday. You know, the one thing you want to expect every Luton team to do is fight, is give everything for the cause, and match the opposition in that area. And that just, as I said in the initial reaction that I did, that just didn't happen. We were second to everything. We were, I'm not going to say half-hearted. I'm sure they put in as much effort as they could, but we just didn't match the intensity of Bradford on the day, and it was disappointing. Dan, you mentioned the team sheet. Let's go on to that, because that was the first problem area really on the day, wasn't it? We knew that we were going to have to make changes. Obviously, Chris Makosso, forget the Coventry game. We'll talk changes from the Peterborough game. Chris Makosso obviously suspended. I think a lot of people, not just myself and Jimbo when we did the preview, I think a lot of people expected Nigel Longwake to go in at right centre half. That wasn't the case. Then when we saw the team sheet, we kind of hoped that he'd gone in at right wing back. That wasn't the case. He didn't look particularly great at left wing back against Wimbledon, but we've given him another go to look not particularly great at left wing back against Bradford, and he ticked that box perfectly. Mark McGuinness came in at right centre half. We'll come on to him because through no fault of his own, the poor boy's had an absolute stinker. And Millie Ali went to right wing back, and then up front, unfortunately, we had no Nicky Wells. He's injured. He was the person that Matt alluded to in the pre-match press conference that had got a knock that he wasn't going to name. Clearly, that was Nicky Wells. Didn't sound particularly hopeful that he's going to be back for Tuesday night either, which is not great. Lamine Fanny come into the team, which was fair enough. He impressed against Coventry, and that was understandable. But, I mean, Dan, you mentioned the team sheet already. You know, red flags just flew out at me when I saw the team sheet. I mean, I was walking through the city of Bradford. I was walking it, and well, I wasn't overly sure that I was going to carry on going to the ground. To be honest, it just wasn't what we were expecting, was it? We keep on getting that we're a work in progress and that we're trying to find formations to suit these players, and yet we're shoehorning players into this formation that quite clearly can't play in the positions that are being asked, or it's not their strength to play in the positions that's being asked.
Exactly my point as well. I mean, Long White, I hope he doesn't get made a scapegoat, but he should never play left wing back again. And if Bloomfield's got any sense, he'll not play the wing back formation again because we haven't got the players to do it. Um, I mean, Bramall played really well when he came on second half, and his cross was really nice for the goal for Kajua, and who also had a decent game when he came in. But Millie Ali can't play wing back. Long White can't play the left hand side. And when we all saw what he done in the second half at Peterborough last week, when he came on the second half of Walters, he ran that right hand side, and he hasn't been seen there since. And I don't understand what the fascination is with sticking him out there. When we've had, and I said this to you after the game, we've had a whole pre-season of getting the players in for the formation that he's going to pick, and he had a chance to change it because you've got a whole pre-season schedule to sign the players. He's brought 10 players in, and he's playing the same system that didn't work last year, isn't really working at the moment because the football's not great and it looks really disjointed. We've got away with it for the first two games, but yesterday we got found out. And he's persisting with playing people out of position, and it's just not good enough. Not good enough at all. I mean, Ali just didn't want to defend yesterday. He can't defend. I think we're all agreed at that. And he was very lucky not to have got sent off yesterday because I think he should have been. Whether there was silly fouls or not, it doesn't matter. He got booked for the first one. He did the second one straight away, and I was amazed he wasn't sent off. Um, Clark did his best. Couldn't really play his natural game because he was playing out of position as well. Really, I think he was far too wide for his game. And yeah, the whole thing start to finish. I mean, McGuinness, you mentioned him earlier. He looked well out of it, well out of it. And I'm a fan of his. I've defended him the whole way, but yesterday he shouldn't have played, and that's on the manager.
Yeah, no, I quite agree. I should actually have explained Jimbo's on holiday at the minute. That's why he's not on this podcast. I can't believe I'm 8 minutes into that. That's how much of an importance he.
So we're half the team.
Yeah, I think you kind of spot on there. Really, where do you see it, Mark? I mean, we've played 4.5 hours of football in league football. If you take away the injury time, we've played 4.5 hours of football, and only really half an hour have we looked good. And in that half an hour was the only half an hour we've played with four at the back. I mean, you've sat next to me and Jimbo many a time in that studio, and you've heard me rant and rave about this thing. I mean, where are you on it?
I mean, just going back to the lineup. I mean, you said I make reference to the Peterborough, not the Coventry, but I looked more at the Coventry lineup in terms of who got 90 minutes on Tuesday and who potentially might not be playing. And McGuinness played 90 minutes at Coventry. So naturally, I thought he's still getting over a virus. He won't start. Me and Fanny and Liam Walsh were the other two that got 90 minutes on Tuesday. And all right, Liam Walsh wasn't getting 90 minutes because he's played quite a bit pre-season in this game. So I was basically looking at the lineup from Tuesday's perspective as opposed to Peterborough. So yeah, I was surprised that. I mean, the one thing that stands out for me is that we've got the players in. But I'm not looking at that team thinking there's a glaring obvious player that's missing, or how we're going to get the best players in the best positions to get that creativity in midfield. I know we talk about the four at the back, five at the back, but looking back at the highlights, the one thing I noticed was all the best opportunities from Bradford came down the flanks. And so not only is it trying to get the wide players more attacking, that will be more creative because we're not creating many opportunities, we also need that balance where you've got the wide players that can defend. I mean, you hear it said all the time, attackers defend and defenders attack. But when they're creating all the best chances, I mean, both goals, I mean, the second goal, we'll go on to it late. We'll go on to it a bit later, but the speed, the pressing, the directness that they showed for that second goal, I just love to see more of that from our point of view. And I'm probably not the most knowledgeable sort of person from a tactical point of view. I'm just a passionate fan, but I look at that team and think, okay, well, where are we going to get that creativity? Who can we play in certain positions? And I'm struggling to find like who goes where. That's basically going to give us the creativity. I mean, the first couple of games, I don't know why we're starting games so poorly. It's like every game we've started it poorly, and we had a great second half at Peterborough, but and half time was like, okay, we're going to get the same again. But I don't want to go back to how it's been, where as soon as we went 2-0 down, I didn't think, oh, we're going to get something out of this game. That was a bit like last season, where you went 1 or 2 goals down. You thought, okay, well, we don't see how we're going to get back into it. And that's just how I felt being in the stands yesterday, that at 2-0, I didn't see anything that would suggest we would get back into it.
No, indeed not. And let's be honest, but for a Keeley wonder save or an absolutely abject finish, whichever side of the fence that you sat on, whether you're a Luton fan or a Bradford fan, it's 3-0, isn't it? And they probably get what they deserve, because I think 2-1 flattered us, to be honest. The one thing you'd say about Bradford, this is the second time they've been 2-0 up in a game and tired in the last 20 minutes. So clearly they'll need to sort that out. And that's why we came into it in the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, Dan, the first goals, it was coming. I mean, I don't think there's anything that we could say. I mean, Humphreys, the eventual scorer. I mean, I flagged up on the preview that the geezer shoots from pretty much every angle in Yorkshire. He'd already flashed one. He'd already flashed one wide of the post, hadn't he? From my angle, I couldn't see if it flipped the post on the way out or if it just missed. But Keeley was shooting across that line like he was worried, and then the three players that really we couldn't contain all night. All afternoon. Poynton, who was the best player on the pitch by an absolute country mile. I mean, even sponsor Sherbets couldn't have got that man of the match wrong, could they? His cross. Sarcevic, who's a bit of a handy so and so, just muscled McGuinness out of the way, didn't he? He wouldn't normally match McGuinness for physicality or anything. This is the point at which I make. McGuinness is he just. I've never seen a guy lose just visibly in front of me lose so much sort of strength. He just looks a complete. He just looks about half as light as he did last season. It's unbelievable. And then by the time Sarcevic flicked the ball over, Humphreys ain't missing from a yard out, is he? And it was just an embarrassing goal. And I've got to be honest, chaps, my mind went back to West Brom with how embarrassing that goal was.
Somebody next to me said it as well. He said that's just like West Brom all over again, and it's hard to disagree because, like you said, McGuinness normally you'd say he deals with that, puts it out for a corner or throw in at whatever, whichever. Um, the goalkeeper, I'm not going to blame Keeley because it shouldn't have got to him anywhere near him in the first place. I think McGuinness should have dealt with it. Anderson missed the interception, and then Naismith and Anderson between them don't see Humphreys moving in. But you're right, there was warnings before that. Humphreys had a really good effort. It clipped the post, just clipped the post, but it looked like Keeley might have got a hand to it. It's hard to tell, but the ball flew at such a pace, and that was a warning, if ever I've seen one, that if we don't sort it out quickly, they are going to score, and that's what they did. And then second half, you think, well, okay, he's brought Bramwell in for Longwyke and put Longwyke out of his misery and saved him a possible red card as well. But then we just started the same as we did the first half, and they've come out and scored another sloppy finish. And like you say, the guy should have scored, absolutely should have scored. And it was a good save from Keeley, so I'm on both fences there because that's both. It's a fact he should have scored. It was a really good save. Um, but yeah, up, up until I'd say the last 10 minutes, we just looked awful, and after then, I think it was just average. Um, but yeah, the first goal, it should have been dealt with. Absolutely should have been dealt with. And I think if McGuinness is fully fit and with it, he'd have dealt with it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. He just shepherds it out, and the job's a good one, isn't he? Or, like you say, he just rises up and heads it out for a corner, and we deal with the corner. We weren't having any problems dealing with their set pieces. It wasn't, you know. It wasn't that. Yeah, obviously before the first goal as well. You referenced it earlier, Dan. We should really have covered it. The Millie Alley incident. I mean, first yellow card. He's just grabbed the guy as he's got away from him. I mean, Millie Alley's got enough pace to get the other side of him, surely, in the distance that he was from goal. But I understand in the heat of the moment that it's a natural reaction to sort of bring him down. And, you know, how many times have we said you got to take one for the team? So I'm not going to criticise him for that. But then I don't think he flew into a tackle for the second one, did he? There was a ball there to be won. But again, the geezer's not going nowhere. See the situation that all he's going to do is belt it into the stands and just pull out as much as you possibly can, because it was a vociferous crowd, wasn't it? Fair play to them. They're clearly a side on the up. They're clearly a club that's moving in the right direction. 20,000 there, you know, loads of kids, and everything that we were when we came out of League Two 7 or 8 years ago. So they were going to be on a referee who he didn't quite have a orange and purple shirt on, but you know, if he took his refereeing shirt off, he might have had one on underneath. Like you, I expected the red card to come out. I fully expected the red card to come out because he did foul him, whether he meant to foul him or he didn't. If he wasn't on a yellow card, no one's going to tell me he wouldn't have been booked then. He should have been sent off. But we took him off, Mark. But was there not a case to be made to just switch him and play him where Clark played and play Clark there? It's not like he hasn't played there before, rather than take him off, because once Miliali went off, that was our attack gone, really. You know, Kadu was still learning the teammates and everything. And to be fair to him, I thought he was brilliant at Coventry on Tuesday night and certainly did nothing wrong yesterday. But was he a little bit too hasty in that sub? Because without with Miliali on the pitch, I'm struggling to see how we're creating chances and what our attacking plan is. But without him, I'm really struggling.
I go by the feeling in the crowd, and everyone by me was shouting to get Miliali off. You're right, he'd been booked. He was lucky not to get another card, and you know the dark arts of football. Then any time a Bradford player would go near him, they'd go down, and the crowd were. I mean, everyone says we've had a kind start to the season, but I think it's probably the hardest thing is going to a newly promoted side at the beginning of the season where everyone's enthusiastic, the crowd are noisy, but then we had the same thing with Nigel Longwhite, where he did a tackle, got booked. So basically, when you've got three occasions to make five subs inside the first half hour. Matt's had to make two changes because of fear of having somebody sent off. And when you're in control of a game, you can use the substitutions to influence the game positively. But half an hour had gone, we've used two of our three opportunities. Obviously, the change we made at half time doesn't count as one of the three. So your sort of hands are tied, and also we weren't getting a foothold in the game. The blocks, the duels. I mean, Matt said in his interview that we didn't win enough duels, we didn't have the intensity, and that's probably what you need more than anything when you go into a newly promoted side, 20,000. They're all up for it. They've made a reasonable start, and I mean, any away game, not even just the promoted side, you're trying to quieten the crowd and not encourage them. But we did the opposite, and we gave them every encouragement that they were going to have a good afternoon. But yeah, I was spot on with Matt making the changes rather than going down to 10. And yeah, I mean, Kadu was he was my man of the match at Coventry, and yeah, I just thought we had to get him on to have some of that attacking threat.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, the question kind of raises itself that if he can come on after 22 minutes, why couldn't he have started the game in the first place and played that right wing back role, and we could have had a more balanced 11? But you know, that's hindsight, and it is what it is. And I don't know. Maybe Matt is still learning these players, but that's twice that Longwake's been on that left wing back, and twice that he's just looked like a fish out of water, hasn't he? So if we are going to learn, and if the mantra of the early part of the season is that we're going to learn from our mistakes, hey, that's a common occurrence, isn't it, from last season as well? If we're going to learn from our mistakes, then that's one mistake that has to be learned from. That can't happen again. Now I understand that we're getting Bramall up to speed. Naismith's got a left foot. Is it ideal that Naismith plays left wing back? Absolutely not. We're not in an ideal situation, are we?
No, Naismith will still do a job there, though.
he can, and also if we haven't got a player to play there, play a different bloody formation so that we don't have to play the player to play there. Do you know what I mean? We're regularly told that they work on two formations in training. Well, what's the other one? We can only assume that it's four at the back because that's what he changed to at Peterborough. So if you haven't got the players to play your five at the back, then don't play it. And the problem that we've got with it is when we're under pressure, every third pass goes backwards. So we can't get any momentum going forward. You know, every time we get to the halfway line, Longwake or Bramwell or whoever it is really can't go forward because there's no one to go forward to because we've got so many defenders in the. So it's straight back to Naismith or straight back to Anderson or to the goalkeeper or whoever it is. And we're not getting no momentum. And when you're 2-0 down in a game, the last thing you need to do is be going backwards. In fact, the only time we kind of went forward from even something as simple as a throw in, Bramwell made the throw in. Walsh put him down the line. Bramwell crossed it, and there was Gideon Kadir at the back post with a really good header. Actually, to be fair to him, and
Very good from quite a way out.
and we got something in the game. But I mean, that long wake at half time, that sub, yeah, fair enough. I was amazed McGuinness came out for the second half. I really was. He didn't. He didn't look fit in the first half. He didn't look fit at Coventry. As Mark said, he did 90 minutes, having not done 90 minutes in a long, long time at Coventry. And it was a tough 90 minutes for him in the middle of that back three as well, sort of shepherding Chigozie and everything else. But he did. And then, yeah, what was it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the second half, Nerthville, who you knew was going to come back and haunt us at some point, gets in down the right-hand side, doesn't he? He puts a lovely ball over and beats McGuinness to the ball and taps in. It is an identical goal to the chance that Wright missed 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later or whatever when he hit Kearley with it. And yeah, I'm with you, Mark. From 2-0, I'm like, Christ, please don't let this turn into one of those Middlesbrough horrendous defeats and things like that because their tails were up. We were starting to look more and more lethargic and run out of ideas the longer that second half was going on. To be fair to Matt, he did make a couple of changes that did improve things. Nordos coming on, going alongside Jerry Yates. We could go a lot longer, a lot quicker, run out with their press. Hey, it'd have been nice if we had one of them, but such is life. And actually, we kind of got a bit more of not a foothold in the game because there was never a period really where we were on top of it, but we managed to get Kadua and McGuinness down that right hand side going forward, and both of them put lovely balls into the box during that second half. One that Yates was on his heels for and just didn't expect, and the second one that he went for, but it was just slightly in front of him. And then came the goal. I think it was the only shot on target that the goalkeeper should have saved or had to save or something like that. But brilliant header. It's good to have him off the mark. It'd be very nice if we could play in a formation where he can play on the right wing because he does look a real talent. He looked a talent on Tuesday night, as you said, Mark. He's obviously going to have to play there on Tuesday night now, you would think, because surely we're not going to put Millie Ali out there to be hung out to dry again. So it's good that Kadua got off the mark, Dan.
Yeah, definitely. I think his confidence a load of good as well. Look, I was at Coventry as well. I saw you both at Coventry Tuesday, and he was somebody that stood out for me as well. Um, Obviously, he's played in this league with Wigan before, with Matt Bloomfield as well. So that's something. But yeah, getting his first goal in gave us a glimmer of hope. Not that there was much left in the first place, because I think we'd all lost hope by that point. But yeah, hopefully, I think he should start perhaps on Tuesday. If not, I want to see Long White there on the right wing spot because I've got a feeling it's going to be the same formation. And if he puts Longwyke on the left hand side, we may as well not bother. And there's nothing against Longwyke; he's just not suited to that position. Stick him right wing back, for the love of God, if you're going to start him.
Come on to Wigan shortly, because yeah, unless they're all left sided, we might be in a kind of spot of bother. I mean, go on, Mark, make your point. You was going to make a point.
Well, I was, because as you know, I'm a stats person, and you watch the game as you see it with your own eyes, and I was just looking at some stats, see whether it reflected the game, and I was absolutely staggered. I mean, we made nearly twice as many accurate passes as Bradford, believe it or not. More successful passes in the final third, more touches in the box, and I'm thinking, was I watching a different game? Nine corners to two. if you didn't watch the game and looked at the stats, you'd think, oh, we dominated that. We must have been really unlucky. But it's having people in the right positions, but turning those numbers into clear cut chances. And I think we've been starved of actual. And Matt said in his interview before the game that he's not really interested in shots created, shots on target. He wants clear cut chances. He doesn't want the ones that don't even trouble the keeper. And I think I've said on here many a times we don't work the keeper hard enough. And yeah, like I said, I just think the stats don't. It doesn't feel like the game I watched. And you mentioned the amount of back passes and the having that ball to be able to create that. I mean, one thing I was thinking of: do we play Walsh slightly more forward because he's like some of the creative passes we've got. I mean, Fane is more of a defensive midfielder, but it's probably something that's been tried already. But I just think we're looking for that creativity. We don't expect to win every week, but like I said, it's just how we lose. And yeah, I just felt we were never really in the game apart from a few glimpses. And yeah, I think Matt's got a lot of thinking. And yeah, they asked him, so where do we go from here for Tuesday? And he's just like, work harder. And yeah, and I will never say that they're not trying, and I will never label that at any of the players. And I actually thought Joe Clark was probably the one that was most on the ball and most trying to make things happen and trying to create that opportunity. So he was he's probably my man of the match, that he was literally trying to get involved and do something. But to have twice as many accurate passes and their keeper not even to have a shot to save, that's that would be a worry. But we're early in the season, and I think it will help everyone when the transfer window shuts. I know it's the same for every club, but you know what you've got. You've not got to worry of people leaving, and you work with what you've got. And more importantly, Matt will know what he still wants with 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, you're right. We need to put a little bit of perspective on it, which is ironic considering I had no perspective when I did the instant reaction on Saturday. Listen, you'll get a lot of them when Luton lose in that fashion because I don't know about you guys, but what are we talking, 75, 80 quid before we even walk through the turnstiles yesterday? It's a lot of money to be watching that performance. And we've watched that performance far too often over the last 2 years that it's ingrained in our memory and we hate it when it comes back. But we do have 2 wins from our first 3 matches. Yeah, okay. The first 2 games were no better than yesterday, really, or slightly better than yesterday uh, at times. But we have won 2 games. However, Dan, are we teetering on the edge of not having learned anything from last season? Because yes, we've won 2 games, but we haven't beaten anything. I know Wimbledon have won the 2 games since then, but they were just horrendous that night. They didn't come to attack at all. And Peterborough are now 3 games in, 3 defeats, and really don't look anything. I mean, lots of fans are suggesting that whilst the transfer business was done early, which was a positive, and we all wanted to see that, have we actually made transfers for the formations that we want to play, for the plans that we've got? What are our plans, particularly in attacking areas? Because they don't look like it. I mean, we've got Jerry Yates in. He came in kind of out of the blue, but you would expect that they've been working on um, that transfer before it was announced. You wouldn't have thought it just literally happened. There's all sorts of rumours still doing the rounds that we're interested in. Ali Al Hamidi from Ipswich. I mean, if we're going to sign 3 strikers in one transfer window and play one up front, that to me would kind of be a red flag. Again, I'm absolutely convinced, as I have been since he walked through the door, that Matt Bloomfield doesn't want to play a back three. But he's had ample time to change it. He's had ample time where he hasn't had enough players to play a back three and still played a back three. Are we dangerously close to having learnt nothing from last season? Forget the Premier League season. I know it exists, but it's a different kettle of fish. But from last season, from last summer, are we in danger of going down the same ground that we've gone down? Because ultimately, didn't finish well.
There's a hint of that, yeah. I think you're right. I was thinking this on the drive back home yesterday, and I thought a lot about it today as well. And I think I mentioned it earlier. When you've had a whole pre-season to either work on a new formation and get the players in to do it, or stick with the current one and then get the players in to do it and work as well, and then have, like you say, if they're practicing two formations, I want to see the other one now, please, because this one isn't working. And have we got the right players for that as well? Um, but I feel like we've learned nothing. We've signed decent players. You've got experienced players like your Cal Naismiths, George Saville, Mackie Wells, and then you've got Cohen Bramall and Yates know this league as well. And then young players like Kujua, Keeley, Longwake, you know, Richards as well, who was a bit of a what's it at Exeter, he was a young little prospect for them. Never got to see him go by all accounts, and I think we've still got to give him a bit of time because he's basically still just out of school. But I don't feel like we're going to set the world on fire, and I'm never going to be one of those fans that goes to a game and expects to win because that's just not us. It wouldn't be Luton if we showed up and go, oh, we'll win today 3-0 easy, because it's never that simple. But I would like to see a little bit more quality and a little bit more team cohesion, because from the four games we've seen this season already, I'm seeing nothing. I'm seeing nothing. Like, we weren't going to score on a month of Sundays against Wimbledon. We were slightly better against Peterborough in that second half, especially as we've mentioned as well. Coventry was probably a write-off because he was giving players minutes and whatnot. Um, but yesterday, I mean, yeah, there's a mix between a well-drilled Bradford side, like I said, that we'd lost to, a well-drilled machine that knew what it was doing, against a team that had just sort of been plucked out, like it was plucked out of the crowd and gone, go on, you have a game, you play here, you play there. What are you, a striker? You can play wing back. Okay, you know, a lot of that, and I just feel like we're trying to put square pegs in round holes again. And you can allude to the fact that we've got 8 players out injured. You've got Joe Johnson who could play the wing back role. You've got Jones who can play wing back. You've got Chong that should never be able to play wing back ever again. Ted, Marv, Elijah, and then you've got that Aduffin who I don't think we're going to see this season, if I'm honest. I think he's our new modern day Danny Spiller, if you like. Um, and that's another thing as well. If he's good, how long is he going to be out for, and is he really worth the outlay? Because I'm not sure he is, even if he is a free transfer. And I think really all fans really want to see is spend a little bit of money. I know we've spent a fair bit on Yates, but I want to see us building a spine, if you like, because I think it's been ripped out and sold to Charlton over the summer. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like we're gonna. You're right. I think you're right. What you're saying. We are in danger of going down the same route. I'm not suggesting we'll be in a relegation dogfight, because that absolutely should not be in the discussion. And I think all these calls I've seen for Bloomfield to go are ridiculous. But if it doesn't change by Christmas, then obviously that's where you make the change. But or in our case, you wait till the middle of January and do it then. But whatever. Um, but yeah, if we don't sort this out, and I think that now's the best time to sort it out and get it dealt with is now, because you've got Tuesday, Saturdays. The games are coming thick and fast. There's no time really to sit and dwell. You've got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go back out there and put the damn thing right. Because if we don't, we're going to be in serious trouble and have learned nothing.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we'll talk about the week to come in a minute, because this does now feel like a pivotal week for our football club, because table can look very handy come tea time on Saturday, or the table could look very nasty come tea time on Saturday. And obviously we're on a slippery pole already after yesterday. Lots of teams around us won, things like that. Where are you with that though, Mark? I mean, there is an element of square pegs, round holes, injured players, and everything else. And let's leave a Dauphin out of it. That's not a footballing injury. That's a health injury, and that's just unfortunate. And it was good that that was flagged up in the medical and that he can carry on. And I think Matt did actually say, so I can say this, that if he's hitting that area one more time, that could have caused some serious long-term issues for him. So we're glad that that's sorted out. But where are you with the rest of it? I mean, as I said, if the rumours are to be believed that Ali Al Hamadi, or Hamidi, sorry, is meant to be coming to the club, or we're interested in bringing him to the club. And there must be an interest in some sort of forward, because we've had the geezer from Colchester, the geezer from Gillingham also linked with us. There's an awful lot of strikers when we're only playing one. When we went to Peterborough, we had Nicky Wells in behind Jerry Yates. I don't really think Nicky Wells in his lifetime has been anything other than a number 9. It's all seemingly like there's a lot of mixed messages and not enough of a plan for plenty of people's liking, really.
I mean, I try and keep a glass half full. Try and be positive, even though what I see with my eyes is it's not pretty to watch. I mean, from the back, Keely's a massive signing, and the way he plays will help us push up the pitch more, get us forward more quickly. I think massively Izzy Jones is like a huge miss. What he gives us, his pace, his directness. And I don't think you can. Yes, every team gets injuries, but I think we're missing him more than anybody else. And we have him fit, and what he gives us in goals and creativity and getting us forward, you can't underestimate that. In terms of, if you said to me, what do we need? I couldn't put my finger on, like, I'll go and get this player, this will solve our problems. I don't believe there's anything out there. But if we're bringing in another striker, I mean, bear in mind, Matt said that Nordas is not the finished article and is work in progress. Is he bringing in another striker to send him out on loan? Maybe, maybe not. Might sound ridiculous, but if he's saying he's work in progress and we're in the here and now, I mean, another thing is we massively missed Wells on Saturday for what he's given us in the previous games where we haven't been great, but he gives us an option. And like after 84 minutes, and he was responsible for the keeper for the Peterborough error. So, and if Matt's preferred tactics is 4 at the back, then if he hasn't got the players he wants to play that formation, and we don't know that that's going to be his preferred option. And it's not like years ago where you played 4-4-2 every week. You've got to be fluid and you've got to be flexible. So it's not like one system suits all the season. But yeah, if he wants to play 4 at the back, does he in his mind believe he's got the players that can play that formation? If he has, we haven't seen it yet. If he hasn't, is he still getting to grips? I don't believe he'll know his strongest lineup. If everyone was fit, well, I mean, whether everyone's fit, whether they're not, does he know his strongest lineup? And is he? Yes, there are players playing out of position. You get that in about March, April when there's a wear and tear and the games are coming thick and fast. But I'm not panicking because I think we have got enough quality, but it's just finding that right formation. Like I said, I like the idea of Liam Walsh playing a bit further forward. I think Fanay is more suited to a deeper role. We've seen the benefits of George Saville, what a great signing he's going to be. I still think we'll get 15 goals out of Wales, and I think Jerry Yates, we've not seen anything like what we can get out of him. And Mads has been a plus that, a lot of us thought we wouldn't see him. He'd be gone in the summer, but he's been our most consistent defender with Christ. So there are positives, and I think we just got to be patient and see what the window brings, basically. Matt knows what he wants to play in the formation that he wants, and he knows whether he feels he's got those players to play that formation. But I think we're all just crying out for creativity, and also, can we just work their keeper and not feel like he's having a day off? That's how it feels like. Yeah, it'd be interesting in what you said about the amount of strikers, and with albeit Elijah's not going to be back for a long while, but if he thinks that Nordas isn't the finished article and is work in progress, is the work in progress under the club, or is the work in progress getting some minutes somewhere else?
Yeah, that one's to be revealed. I would wonder where he could go though, because near enough a €3 million signing by what we understood from a Norwegian league. I mean, you don't really send €3 million players out to ply their trade in League Two or the Conference, do you? And I can't believe there's going to be too many European teams that are coming in for Lasse Nordos right now, based on what he's seen for us. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we have got to worry about the here and now. The here and now is we don't have to get promoted this season, but really, really and truly, we need to get promoted, don't we, for the good of everyone involved, really. The thing for me with transfers, guys, and this would be the only area of criticism. I was happy with the business that was done earlier in the season. I was like you've both pointed out, Kearley, Saville in particular. I mean Naismith, and Wells. That's a good spine of experience, and whatever formation you play, that's what we needed. My area of concern is we're playing square pegs in round holes. Not 3 games into the season, we were playing it on the first game of the season. Where's the planning? Even if Alfie Doughty stays, we still need someone to back him up. Now, he's never really played Joe Johnson there. Even in the friendlies, Joe Johnson was playing sort of left centre half more often than not. So what was going to happen was, should Alfie have played against Tottenham, and let's forget all the fallout about how that materialised. Should Alfie have played against Tottenham and picked up an injury in that game, what was the succession plan to Alfie then? Because there wasn't one. Now, Cohen Bramall is a free transfer. He's been a free transfer all summer. We're led to believe he didn't do any fitness work in the summer, hence why we're having to build him up to a pre-season right now. Why are we not bringing him in? That line about, oh, we didn't know if Alfie was going to go or not and we can't bring players in, that don't wash with me, because the other way around, when we're trying to sign players, all we keep on hearing is, oh, such and such have got to sign a player first before they let a player go. Well, that doesn't seem to ring true with how we're doing. We've always needed another backup left wing back since Ryan Giles left this football club, and what's that, going on 18 months now? That would be my area of concern. Why, in the month of August, like you say, Mark, in March and April, where everybody is like hurting hard after a long, hard season, you can understand it. In August, in the first game, in the third game, why are we playing square pegs in round holes? Not in insignificant positions on the pitch, but our wing backs are massive to everything that we do. They have been all the time that we've played in this formation, which is why we played the damn thing in the first place, because it's so good for Alfie. Why was there no backup to Alfie, who could have got injured at any point, regardless of the fact I don't think anyone of a Luton persuasion ever expected him to kick a League One football?
Well, he was injured towards the back end of last season as well, wasn't he? And I think Amari covered up there, didn't he?
No, Millie Ali did, didn't he? Amari was playing.
Oh, Millie Ali did, yeah, and he did all right that side. I mean, if he'd have started left on the left side yesterday, and Longwyke on the right hand side, it would have been a lot better idea than the idea he had, which was the other way round. I don't really understand that way of thinking at all. But you're absolutely right. I was thinking this earlier today as well. Like, he's had a whole pre-season where Bramall has had a club, like you say, hasn't done much fitness work, so we're having to do it. Why not just get him in on trial or something as a backup plan? Because he must have no doubt he was going to go. He must have no doubt he was going to go. And I think if one or two others were fit through pre-season as well, I think they would have been gone as well, because they've been told that there's interest in them. Is there a backup plan to replace those as well? I don't think there is. Um, so yeah, it's really baffling that now we're having to use substitutions. I accepted it on Tuesday, Coventry, because he did say beforehand we're going to use it to give minutes to people who haven't necessarily played a lot of pre-season. But can we not do? We don't need to be doing that in league matches. We really don't, and for no other reason than, like you said earlier, we pay all that money to travel all the way up to Bradford to be served up a load of like that. Sorry, a load of rubbish. Sorry, I did say I wasn't going to swear. Sorry, um, but that's what it was. It was rubbish. Um, when it could have been better planned for, and I don't know who's in charge of the planning, but I'd love for him to come out and say what the thinking was behind the selection process that have been made so far and the style we're playing. Because, well, style, if you can call it style, because it's not really much of a style, is it? It's just been very underwhelming so far, and I wonder what the season has ahead of us. I think we could end up mid-table or something like that. I think it's going to be a dead rubber season, and for all the excitement that was building up to the start of the season, I thought we were going to be at the top end. But the way we're playing at the moment, we're average at best, I'd say.
And that's yeah. I mean, that is the concern, isn't it? That is what fans are suddenly thinking. That if this continues, that's the slope that we're on, and we can't possibly be on that slope this season. Even if we don't get promoted, we have to be close to getting promoted than we are closer to the middle of this table. Because you look at this 11. In fact, you look at this entire squad, and I've said it on this podcast before, and I'll keep on saying it. That squad on paper is far too good for League One. Now it just brings out, and Bradford were the prime example of this. It brings out that saying that used to be plastered all around our dressing room wall. I don't know if it still is or not, but hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. And that was exactly the case in point yesterday. But I mean, you mentioned Coventry there, Dan, and that's absolutely fine. And I think everyone who went to Coventry kind of understood the situation. But then when you make 11 changes at Coventry to give players minutes, again that's absolutely fine. You can't then come out on the Saturday afternoon after we've lost and say, "Well, we're still working on the players and finding the best positions for them." Well, so you've just wasted Tuesday night, then, haven't you? Really? Because yeah, okay, I know we need to get minutes into as many players as possible, but in 3 weeks' time we've got a Virtue Trophy game against Barnet. We could have used that for that. Right now, we have to get consistent performances on the pitch. And forget results. We have to be performing better than what we've done in all three of these games. And yet, Coventry, we played a team that Chigosi's never going to play a first team game this season unless there's a raft of injuries, unless he improves at the rates that he's doing. Richards came off the bench, hasn't even been on the bench in the league games. Corley Woodrow looks like a man who might be departing. There's all sorts of rumours that there's interest in him. He wasn't on the bench yesterday. I didn't hear anyone ask the questions why. But, Tom Holmes is. I mean, if Tom Holmes plays a league game based on the other night, we have got problems. Nor, Nordos isn't going to play many league games. He's certainly not going to start many league games unless we've got injuries. I don't get why we waste 90 minutes on Tuesday and then complain on the Saturday that, oh well, we're still working out best players for best positions. You had a whole game there that you could have done that in. And I'm not saying that they've all got to play 90 minutes and then play 90 minutes on the Saturday. I'm not saying that at all. But there's no reason why you couldn't have started with a stronger, if you're going down that route. There's no reason why you couldn't have started with a stronger side on Tuesday night and then on an hour just took 5 key players off, or throughout the course of the second half took 5 key players off, or once you've learnt about the key players, then you know where you're at. Particularly Jerry Yates. He's only been here a week. He came on for 25 minutes on Tuesday night. Surely we'd have benefited much more from him doing the 65-minute role and Nordos doing the 25-minute role, because Nordos was never going to do the starting spot on Saturday, whereas Yates was. So getting used to who passes where and what runs he makes and everything else must have been a more benefit, because, like you've said twice or 3 times in this podcast, we did look like we went onto that main road, picked 11 people out, and stuck them in these fancy blue shirts.
Mm, I don't like saying it either. And you make a really good point as well. Why are you coming out after the third league game and saying we're not quite up there? That isn't good enough at any level of football. That is not an excuse that should wash with anybody. And I'm sorry, but if I'm a director hearing that, I'm putting him straight in the office and giving him a right tear down, because that is not acceptable at any level of football to come out and say 3 games in, we're not quite there, up to speed yet. Rubbish, utter rubbish. And I'm actually furious at hearing that.
And that's every season, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's rubbish because it's the same for everybody else. I mean, Bradford were more than up for that. Wimbledon, yeah, all right, they parked the bus and had no intention of winning the game. They had no intention to stop us winning, which they undid themselves because we were never going to win it anyway. But they were organised. Peterborough were rubbish. But yeah, Bradford and Wimbledon were really up for it, and the teams that have got coming up, Cardiff are going to be up for it. We're going to be playing really well lately. I'm looking a bit too far ahead with the others, but we're the team that's going to be there to be shot down because we're favourites to win the league. And Bloomfield hasn't come out and said it like Edwards did last year that we want to be free flowing, attacking, and go straight back up. I'm glad he hasn't said anything like that because managers who do that shoot themselves in the foot when it doesn't happen. But don't say to me 3 or 4 games into the season we're not quite up to speed because everybody's had the same amount of time. Everyone does the same length of preparation and getting everybody ready. We all know when the league starts. We all know who we're playing, how busy August is and September. You, you should be ready for kickoff on the first game. Don't come at me and say we're not quite ready yet. That's rubbish. Sort it out.
Yeah, and we've only signed 2 players on the day of the season starting. The rest of them were all in the building, plenty early enough to be there.
Yeah, which is fair enough, but to say that we're not up to speed with some, it's rubbish. It ruins games because we're having to make substitutions like Bramall coming on for the second half. Really, if he'd been the pre-season, he'd have started the game and it'd be less of an issue. And there's a substitution you haven't got to make. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. If he like we said, if he come a month or so ago, he'd have been up to speed. But afternoon to forget, and Mark, unfortunately, on the journey home, there was even more reason to forget the afternoon when the town social media confirmed that reports or sort of allegations that a Luton fan had made a racial comment to a Bradford player. I didn't hear it. I must admit, that's not me being ignorant of the situation. I didn't hear it, I didn't see it, or anything like that. It's just not something I would have my eyes and ears open for because we don't do that at our football club. We've never done that at our football club, and we never will do it at our football club. And you have to have the brain cell of a pea to do it, full stop. But you have to have a brain cell of a pea to do it when half of the players that are representing you in these blue shirts, right in front of your very eyes, are black players. And there is just no room for it in football. Full stop. There is absolutely no room for it on any turnstile or any stand that Luton fans are in, and there's just no place for it in our society. And I'm pleased to see or hear that, according to the media up in Bradford, the person's been arrested, and that person shouldn't see a football stadium again for a long time.
Yeah, well said. I echo all your comments, but I just get a sick feeling when you hear that someone has been abused for the colour of the skin for any reason, and yeah, it's just disgusting. That I mean, we saw it happening at the Liverpool game on Friday night, and there's no place for it in society. There's no place for it in a football ground, and you're right that person shouldn't see a football ground ever again. And yeah, I just can't get my head around it that it happens. It still happens, and we know as a football club, you think all the abuse that our players have had, especially Elijah, and there's just no place for it. But yeah, I just struggle to find enough words that can just how horrible it is to to have that shouted or abused at someone. How it must make them feel is just horrible. And like you said, I'm pleased that someone's been arrested and that action has been taken. But I know as a club, as a community, as a fan, we all stand together, and we will all do everything we can to stamp it out. And I know and I didn't hear it, I was near the back, but I'm the same as you. If I hear it, then I'm calling it out because there's no place for it, and just abuse is just horrible for anybody to have to suffer.
Yeah, well said. And our thoughts are with the Bradford player involved, and we hope that he's okay after that. Dan, it's just not on.
Absolutely, I completely echo what both of you have said as well. I did say in a tweet earlier this morning about educating people, but how much, for God's sake, how much education do we need? How many more incidents do we need at football matches? None is the answer, but how many more times does this have to be put out? It shouldn't ever have to be put out. In this day and age, it's absolute nonsense that it still exists. I know it exists in society. You hear it now and again, doesn't make it right. It's never right, and I just don't understand why. What the process? There can't be any thought process behind it. Like you're going into a game, you paid a lot of money to get into the ground, you travelled however far, you're going in, and the first thing you think, oh, someone a different colour skin to mine, I'm going to shout abuse at him, and then someone's going to hear it because you're shouting it for a start, so you want to be heard, and like, where's the common sense? There's no sense in it at all. It's absolutely disgusting. But like you say, I've never heard it myself at a Luton game. I hope I never have to hear it at anywhere, any football ground at all. It's absolutely disgusting. When the majority of, or like Luton's one of the most multicultural places in the country, and it's something to be proud of, I think, personally. Um, and for one of our so-called supporters to come and do that, it's absolutely disgusting, and it just shows the club up for something it really isn't.
Yeah, agree. Um, yeah, afternoon to forget all round. Unfortunately, let's look ahead to Tuesday night. We'll be back with full match previews once we're in our new studio, but we'll do a little bit of a look ahead to Wigan, and I'll mention uh, applause that we want to get going in the stands once we've covered the game itself. Eighth in the table, Wigan, 2 wins and a loss, exactly the same record as what we've got. Beat Northampton, beat Peterborough, and lost to Leighton Orient. Obviously, we've both beaten Peterborough. That was their win yesterday. Um, Not really sure who to pick out too much in this Wigan side, gents. Have to say, the eye-catching signing during the summer was obviously Paul Mullin, who's goal machine in the lower leagues. Joined on loan from Wrexham, was never going to play for Wrexham in the Championship, I don't think. But I'm looking through the sort of stats and things like that. And on FootMob, who's the stats site that I generally use, Fraser Murray, who I think is a winger, is the top rated player in the league. If he's not a winger, Wigan fans, I apologise. And the other thing that I noticed was the goalkeeper, Sam Tickle, is the third highest save percentage in the league. Josh Keeley's the second highest, and someone who only played 45 minutes, I think it was, for Cardiff, got the most. So just because they've won two and lost one, if he's got the third highest save percentage in the league, he's obviously facing a few shots, Mark, and that might give us some encouragement that we might actually test a keeper for once.
Yeah, I tend to sort of tend not to look at league tables too early in the season because, like ourselves, teams are still finding their feet, formations, new players, and I almost see the first half a dozen games as an extension of the pre-season, but just as more serious. But yeah, I hope to see Kadura starting. I don't expect to see many changes. I think Matt said that he doesn't. It's unlikely that Wells is going to be fit. I'd like to see. I wouldn't like to see Jerry Yates up there on his own. We're at home, and the emphasis is on us to, as with any home team, is to take take the initiative, push them back, press higher up, try and create chances. And if Kadura and Ali are both playing, then we've got pace to burn and we've got enough to cause them enough problems. And it's just getting that creativity because I haven't seen Wigan at all, and I don't know how they play. But you've said it, and I've said it that there are going to be a lot of teams that will come to Kenilworth Road, and if they leave with a point, they'll be saying happy days. Take what we've got, i.e., a point, and I think we're going to find more and more like that. So I don't know if we're going to be like that, but we've got to sort of press high and just have a good first half, just have some momentum. Because I know the crowd motivates the players motivate the crowds. It's down to both of us, and I just hope that we start fast. Is probably one thing I want to see more than anything.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. The crowd and the players, they should intertwine. I really do think that in this game, though, Dan, I think it's on the players to get the crowd going because Saturday's still fresh in the memory, isn't it? And the first two games weren't exactly inspiring either. It's about time that the players come out of the blocks and things. It'll be interesting to see how we're going to approach this. Mark's right, and I fully believe an awful lot of teams will come here and defend. But Ryan Lowe has got a kind of reputation for being a manager who will go on the attack. His team score lots of goals. He doesn't mind conceding lots of goals. He was very attractive. His team was very attractive, sorry, when he was Bury manager before all of their issues. We went and played them in a cup game, and Nathan Jones spoke highly of him to the point where I thought we would replace Nathan Jones with Ryan Lowe at one point the first time round when he disappeared. And even his Preston team was full of goals, and look how they've gone since he's left them. So I'm not sure if they're going to be one of the teams that do come down here and play for a point and things. I think he's got enough about him that he's more ambitious than that, and that would help us if he does. But by the same token, if he doesn't, we've got to find a way to break him down. And well, really and truly, we haven't looked like breaking a defence down yet.
No, I mean I've just had a quick look at the Wigan stats from the games they've played so far, and they tend to get quite a lot of shots away on target as well, and they've already put the ball in the net 6 times already. So that shows that they're not goal shy like us. Um, like you say, there's definitely two ways of playing it. They either go what I would assume they've been doing is being on the front foot and attacking teams and having a go at them. And to be honest, that might suit us a bit better. Or if they get an early goal or two, that won't suit us at all, obviously, because we don't seem to have it in us to claw back at the moment. Um, or they could play the long game and we park everyone behind the ball and we can't break teams down too well either. So from what we've seen so far, so I I think the the game so far would have given Ryan Lowe a bit of food for thought on how best to approach it. He knows his team better than I do. The Wigan fans might be listening to this and will know their team better than we do. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say I'm worried, but I'm cautious because although we're at home and it should be a home advantage, the opening few games haven't really given me much confidence to go into Tuesday night with. And I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I, I'd love to come on next time and say what were we all worried about, but I don't know at this stage. It's going to be a really tough test, and I think they've got ambitions to be where we are as well, like half the league has, and anyone's capable.
Yeah, we're all worried because we're seeing the same signs as what we've seen for the last 2 seasons, I think, and it's up to the players to put in a performance that tells us that that's not the case and that they have learned and that they are good enough. And I don't know whether it comes in this formation, whether it comes in a change of formation. I don't know. I suspect it'll be the latter based on what we've seen so far. But you're right. You mentioned right at the start of this podcast that you didn't see Luton changing formation on Tuesday night. I don't either. There's going to be, what, 2 training sessions at most. Okay, we've been told they've been working on another formation. So maybe they've got another one up their sleeve if they want to use it. But it doesn't strike me as a thing that you'd go and do on a Saturday and then change your formation on a Tuesday. So we're looking at 3 centre halves, Mark, and I just can't see how Mark McGuinness can go again. Well, I can see how he can go again, but it would be really, really unfair, I think, because obviously 2 90 minutes in the last sort of 7 days to ask him to go a third time when he is clearly just visibly. I mean, I don't even need to have the stats in front of me. It just visibly doesn't look the same stature of person right now. He needs to recover from whatever it is that he's recovered from. The only option I see down in that right centre half spot is Nigel Longwake, but it was the only option I saw on Saturday. We didn't see it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Can't ask him to go 3 games. I mean, this is the last of Chris Makoto's ban, so he'll be back for Saturday. But here and now is Wigan, and yeah, that's the only change that I can see in the back really.
Yeah, and then
I think it's got to be Mace.
yeah, and then that opens up the question. Sorry, Dan. That opens up the question. Then who plays left wing back, doesn't it? Is Cohen Bramall fit enough now to start and give us 60 minutes, and then we'll worry about the situation after an hour? Because if he is fit enough to start, he does get up and down that line. He will provide a little bit of balance. He will also allow Millie Ali to play somewhere else on the pitch. It might be the initial answers of we've got no Naki Wells, or we don't think we've got Naki. Well, we haven't got Naki Wells, as he Matt is an absolute terrible liar, isn't he? I mean, he tried his hardest to not say that he wasn't fit, but you know, if you played poker with Matt Bloomfield and you come out skint, there's something wrong with you, I think. It would open the door if Bramwell can give us even 60 minutes from the start. to get Ali further up the pitch and in a position where it can hurt us. But I suppose the question is, and none of us will know the answer, is he fit? If he'd played the first 45 minutes on Saturday and then someone else played the second 45 minutes, then you'd say, well, yeah, surely he'll be fine for an hour. Because he played the second 45 minutes, are they going to keep on protecting him? But at some point, the bloke's got to play, hasn't he? Otherwise, he's not going to be ready, is he? See, it was the same with Ross Barkley when he first came. At some point, he had to play 90 minutes to prove to himself that he could do it. Needs must.
I, I think it's needs must now. I think you're just going to have to ask him to maybe train once or twice a week and play the games because they're thick and fast and we haven't got anyone else to play that position. And just, don't, for God's sake, please don't put Long White there again. Put him, I think you're right. I think put him in the right centre half spot or put him at right wing back because they're the positions he's brought in to do and the jobs he's there to do. If you've got someone like Bramall who can play the left wing back spot, do it. There's no other comeback from that. And Ali, I think should be playing as. I think is it a forward three we play as, and he plays as a wide one of those.
Two behind one, isn't it? That's how they're doing it. Even that's too complicated for me. Like you say, just stick them up front.
I don't think it works. I don't think it works. I was saying in the stands on Saturday, football isn't a complicated game, and I feel like we're trying to overcomplicate things where we don't need to. And I don't think Matt's quite clever enough, in a sense, to play that sort of formation because the midfield really. I mean, for all the good that the likes of Baptiste and Saville were doing, like the others looked a little bit out of shape, if you like, out of position, like Fanny and Clark in particular. It didn't have bad games necessarily. I just that they weren't comfortable in the position they were asked to play in. They didn't shy from giving it their all. I thought they all did, but um, the shape wasn't right, and I think that needs addressing as well. I'd just play like if you're going to play the swing back thing, just play a straight 3-5-2. Have two old in, one in the middle, two up front. Just do that because we've got players. I think we've just about got the squad to do that. So just do that.
Yeah, you could do that. You could have Nordos up alongside Yates, couldn't you? Like we finished with on Saturday.
Give Nordas minutes. I mean, like if he's saying that he's not the finished article, he's not going to be the finished article, and he's played half a season of 10 minutes here and there, and then start him at Coventry and then bring him on for half an hour on Saturday. Just start him. Give him a start. Give him an hour. Give him 70 minutes. Then give him a 90 and give him a proper chance. Then you might see some sort of article being developed because at the moment he's just going to stagnate and not go anywhere. And like you say, with a €3 million signing, where are you supposed to send him on loan? Where's he supposed to go? Get him in, put him up alongside Yates, and I'll bet any money them two will start coming good, and we'll start seeing some goals. But until then, we're just going to struggle for it. If he insists on confusing the midfield as much as he has been.
Yep, I don't see it happening though. One other one, Mark. Can Baptiste go again? That would be the other big question, wouldn't it? He got taken off on Saturday, so we're still managing his minutes. If he can't, is it just Liam Walsh goes there, or does Lamine Fannin drop back there from the start?
I'm not sure, but I mean, Lamine Fanny's played a lot of minutes. He played 90 at Coventry. He forget how many minutes he got on Saturday. So I think he's another one that will manage. I probably wouldn't play Lamine on Tuesday night. Like to see Walsh in and like a bit further forward, as I've said on numerous occasions. So yeah, and Baptiste is. I mean, obviously we're making presumptions or we've got opinions without knowing all the facts. We don't know as much as how they are physically as anything else. And I mean, we don't know with Baptiste whether the club feel he's sort of gone past the injury problems he's had before, whether it's too early or whether they're sort of wrapping him in cotton wool a bit and trying to manage his game time. Because as much as pre-seasons are to get minutes in legs, they're never played the same intensity as when the league starts. It's very difficult to judge players that have had a history of injuries to judge them on pre-season. So I can see Baptiste coming on, depending how the game goes. Have Walsh in there, and yeah, obviously I think where we're most offensive is getting Jordan Clark to be influential in like the final third, and he plays not as a 10 but just in front of the defensive midfield and just dropping off depending on whether we play two forwards up front. Can you ever see the time where they play Ali as a central striker? I don't think Matt actually likes his creativity quite wide. But if almost like with Yates and Ali, if you had those two up front, you've got a large and a little player. You've got pace and you've got power. But I don't think Matt likes the idea of Ali being central. I think he wants his influence. But if you've got Kadoa, who gives you your pace and your directness out wide, could you play Ali like up front with Yates?
Yeah, it's a good shout. I mean, we finished at Peterborough with Ali through the middle up front, didn't we? I know it was only 5 minutes or so, but he still made the run that freed up the space for Costa to have that shot. So it's not like you can't do it. Yeah, interesting one. There's lots of question marks for Matt to answer really on team selection. I just hope it's not the same 11. If it's the same 11, it could be a long night, gents. It really could. But there will be a result at the end of it, and it comes the time for us to predict what it will be. As you're the only one wearing orange on this show, Dan, you can be the first one to go, mate. How does Luton versus Wigan go?
Well, unfortunately, there's one orange shirt and two blue shirts, and that's what's going to be happening on Tuesday. And I don't want to say 2-1 Wigan. I'm going to say 2-1 Luton.
Mark, how are you? How are you going, mate?
Well, I need a win to get on your leaderboard. So I was going to go. I'll go 2-1 as well because, like what you've said, the Wigan don't seem a team that are going to sit back. I think we will get goals. We will get a reaction. We'll get a higher intensity performance. But I think they'll have a goal in them. So yeah, 2-1 as well.
What are you going, Kev?
Yeah, well, one for me. I'm still worried about us going forward a little bit here, and if their goal is the first goal, might not be a pleasant night. And yeah, I still think we'll huff and puff. That's the one thing that we always do. And obviously, when the 85th minute comes along, we'll obviously bang one in because that seems to be the theme of the season so far. That when the 85th minute comes along, we score. Um, yeah, finish 1-1. I don't. It's not the result I want. Of course, it's not. I want us to win, and I want us to win convincingly. But you know, maybe that changes when the team selection happens. I don't know, but yeah, well, you got to respect Wigan. They've got a couple of wins on the board, and yeah, go from there. Should just say no one got the correct score right for the Bradford versus Luton game. Plenty went the other way. Luton 2, Bradford 1, but that's not how it panned out. So no correct scores on that one. We'll sort the leaderboard out when we're back in the studio and everything, and not messing about on StreamYard and things like that. But well, the leaderboard is what the leaderboard was the last time. So if you want to see where you are in it, um, load up the Bradford preview just before we finish with the Wigan game because I want to talk to Mark about an initiative that the Trust are embarking on. If you have got a ticket to the game on Tuesday night, then in the 7th minute, please do join in for a minute of applause. Sadly, the news came through last week that town fan Adam Dilly passed away, and he'll be known to most of you. If you're on social media, you'll certainly know him. If you come to Trust events, you'll definitely know him. He always lit up the room whenever he was at our events. And we was extremely sad to hear of his passing, and our thoughts obviously are with Mark, his father, and the rest of his family and friends at this sad time. So yeah, please do join in for a minute's applause for a Hatter who sadly passed recently. Mark, you know him well, and encourage everyone to do that.
Yeah, he was so brave and so brave, like with his illness, and yeah, it just puts everything into perspective. And yeah, you can't imagine what the family are going through. And the only way we can help is just to show our appreciation and to give him the fitting tribute that he deserves with a minute's applause.
Yeah, minutes applause when the clock hits 7 minutes on Tuesday night, please, folks. Okay, Mark. Obviously, we usually have you on the podcast. Well, we always have you on the podcast to talk football, but we also get you on the podcast to talk about your, well, usually it's your charity initiatives, isn't it? I don't think there's one for us to talk about this season, although there's plenty of time for one of them to come to fruition. But I've got you on because the Trust have created an initiative recently called Talking Hatters, which you're very much a part of. So, floor is yours to discuss what it is, where it is, why it is, and how it is.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you to the Supporters Trust for inviting me to get involved in it. Derek and the Supporters Trust, it was their initiative that they came up with. And obviously, we've seen other clubs, Talking Cherries and Talking Royals, who do something similar. But the whole premise of Talking Hatters is basically to have somewhere where people that can come and talk, a safe place where it's confidential, and if they're struggling with their mental health, whether it be stress, depression, anxiety, loneliness, then every Sunday night we're on Zoom, and you don't have to be a Supporters Trust member. You don't even have to be a Luton fan. What we want to do is have somewhere safe where people can go to and can talk. And we're on the apron on the Luton Town Supporters Trust gazebo every home game. But yeah, I think for me, obviously with my own struggles, and I've shared them with everyone. For me, the most important thing is that people get to talk. I mean, even if you're like feeling lonely, even if you just want to come on and talk about the game or talk about football, then we're there to support anybody, whatever they're going through. I always say that talking is massive, and if you're not talking, then the struggles get harder. Just through my own personal experience, not speaking on behalf of anybody else, and so just a few things that. So every 90 minutes, someone dies from suicide, and if you think not everyone recognises the 90 minutes because that's the length of a football game, and there's 25 attempts for every death, and it's the biggest single cause of death for men under 45, and we know that some a lot of men struggle to be open with their feelings and their emotions, and yes, and so just another stat. So there was over 6,000 deaths to suicide just last year, and so these numbers are just staggering to me. And yeah, we just want to be there to help people, and I think the one stat that hit home to me is that 1 in 5 have suicidal thoughts, and i I don't mind admitting that I am in that stat. I've had suicidal thoughts before, and I know how much talking helps. For me, I talk to someone professionally, but it's just talk to someone, and it's okay not to be okay. And there is a stigma, not as big a stigma as there was, but yeah, I just wanted to sort of share that. I mean, I'm a qualified mental health first aider. We've got other people that are on the calls that are also qualified to just help. We have an email address, talkinghatters at lutontown supporterstrust.com. If you don't feel comfortable to speak on the Zoom call, then email us and we'll be there to support. And we're also looking at doing some signposting where there'll be help to get professional help. But I make no apologies for keep saying the importance of talking to someone if you're struggling. That's what we're about, and we want to raise awareness and just be there. I mean, the community. We all know what a massive part the club plays in the community, and how integral it is, but also how the community comes together when someone's struggling. And I always say I mean, we talked earlier about the racial abuse, but just my thing is just be kind to everyone. You don't know what they're going through when they go home. It's just check on your friends, just check on anyone that you feel might be struggling. It's yeah, they're just. I know I've gone on a bit, but they're just my thoughts through my own experience. But yeah, just a massive thank you to Derek, Helen, Paul, and everyone for giving me the opportunity to support this because they're doing amazing work and it's a passion of mine, as people know, as much as the football is. And final thing for me is that yes, we all love the football and we'd all love to win every week, but it's just as important as to like the people you spend time with, like the social interaction. That helps a lot of fans massively. So it's a really big thing that the supporters trust are doing. But yeah, we'll be on 7 o'clock and every Sunday. If you need to chat, just come along, and it's a safe environment.
And the Talking Hatters project is on social media, isn't it? At Talking Hatters on X, and you can find them on Facebook and things like that. So yeah, please, if you are struggling, please don't suffer alone. Do log on to that Zoom call, as Mark said, every Sunday, 7 o'clock. Just on behalf of Derek and everyone else at the Supporters Trust, Mark, we thank you for everything that you've done with regards to that project, which we're very, very proud of, and we hope that it's going to become the enormous success that it can be, and that if we just help just one person, it's a success, isn't it? And that's what we're here for. So yeah, don't suffer in silence, please. It is okay not to be okay. If you are struggling for any reason, whether you're a Luton fan or you're not a Luton fan, whether you're a trust member or you're not a trust member, just 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, just pop onto that Zoom call, and someone will be there to help. And that's more important than anything that we've spoken about in the last hour and 20 minutes. Football's irrelevant when it comes to life and death. So please, if you are struggling, log on to that Zoom call. Thanks very much, gents. Really appreciated your input over this one. It's good that you two have shown up rather than Jimbo, who's off on his hollybobs somewhere and doesn't want to know us for the weekend. I jest. He'll have to post his correct. He'll have to post his correct score prediction on YouTube this time because we won't be able to put it on. I'm not having none of this. Oh, I would have said this and this on Wednesday when we review the game. Please get your score predictions in as well, everyone. We'll be back to normal next time. But if you can get your score predictions in for the Wigan game on this podcast, that'll be absolutely fantastic. And if we're into the new studio, which we hope we will be by the time the review comes out, I'll get the leaderboard sorted and everything else. But I'll do an instant reaction on Tuesday night. So hopefully that's a little bit happier than it was on Saturday. And we'll go from there. So Dan, Mark, thanks very much. And thanks to you for watching or listening, however it is that you consume this podcast. As always, thanks to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. And until next time, which hopefully will be in our new studio, from all of us on this call, come on, you Atters, just be so much better than Saturday, please.